Welcome back to the Sharon Fitzmaurice podcast. And my guest today is me, Sharon Fitzmaurice. Thank you and welcome back. This is our last episode of 2024. Hard to believe we're saying that, really, isn't it? So I had a guest lined up, but unfortunately she couldn't make it. So I know lots of people are always asking me, Sharon, will you tell us a little bit more about yourself? And sometimes you feel like you're talking about yourself constantly and what else do people want to know? But then I realized that with the amount of emails and messages I get after the podcast and what I share, people want to know a little bit more. And I suppose you can find that out on my website and on my social media pages. But I realized that maybe people don't know everything or the extent of the work I do. So I'll be sharing a little bit about that. But really, what I want to talk about today is about building connection. And this podcast, when I started out in 2020, imagine, was about building connection with other people and sharing their stories and what has inspired them to, I suppose, celebrate their own resilience, because that's what this podcast is all about, celebrating the resilience of the human spirit. And my God, us humans are so resilient. And sometimes it's not until we're talking about what we've come through, the challenges that we've overcome, do we actually realize how far we've come in our lives? And every guest that I've had on in those 4 years has inspired me even more to continue this podcast. Now, I know there was a short break earlier in the year because, as you know, my husband John was diagnosed with an aggressive cancer the year before. So my priority was to value the time that we could give to each other, valuing nurturing him, looking after him, while trying to look after myself as well and continue on with my clients and the work that I do. And the podcast, even though I love it, it just seemed to take up a lot of time. And I suppose coming on, there was a part of me that didn't feel I could give it everything I wanted to. But it wasn't until I received another lovely message from one of my listeners in Australia, Orlith Shield, who then happened to be a guest on my podcast this year, sent me a message saying that she was so grateful that I shared my podcast and sharing the guest stories because it had kept her company on her laundry runs, her shopping runs, her walks to work and from work, and other messages that I'd received from people saying that they had nobody, in their lives, that either their children or their partner were no longer with them. And that sometimes the conversations that I would have with my guests made them feel like they were a part of something, that the stories resonated with them, their lives of the listeners were made somehow feel like that they too mattered. So that really meant so much to me. So when I returned in September of this year with my wonderful husband, John, it was the highest rating podcast I've had in 4 years. And that's because, again, we showed up authentically. We shared our vulnerabilities. We shared, the fear. We shared the joy and the love and what was really important to us. And again, so many people can resonate with that because we've all had people in our lives that have been affected in some shape or form by illness or challenges, mental health, whatever it is. And again, I suppose when we came on so vulnerable, I wasn't Sharon, the host. I was John's wife, and I was speaking from a personal experience that was affecting us there and then. It wasn't something that we'd overcome. It was something that we were moving through, and we're still moving through it. And thankfully, he's doing well. He's still continuing his treatment for another year, but he's doing really, really well. And I'm blessed that I have such support in my life from John, from my fabulous adult children, Matthew and Scott, from my mother, from John's mother, our siblings in law, and our nieces and nephews, and even a grandniece who's 2 now. So, again, it's what we value in our lives, what's important to us. And at that time, being with John and nurturing him was really important to me, and I wanted to prioritize my time. So it made me think about everything that I was doing and what I valued and where I was going to give my time and energy. So I cut back in some places and I went forward in other places. And sometimes we need little reminders in our life, don't we, of what is really important to us. And then the connections that we build and the communities we have around us, whether that be families or friendships or our work connections or our community connections, that we are giving the time because we value ourselves. So if you look up values on Google, values are beliefs that guide or motivate our actions and help us determine what is important to us, the sort of person we are or we want to be, and how we treat ourselves and others. So again, it comes back to how are you treating yourself? And if you're treating yourself well, then you will have time to treat others well. But sometimes you're putting everybody else first and not valuing your own time. So that's what I'd like you to do over the Christmas period and moving into the new year is to think about where you give your time, who you give your time to, and how you can value yourself more, and to make your time and energy a priority to you. So for me, I'm constantly doing that. I give so much of myself to other people through my work. But again, I have that scheduled in as work. And I know lots of people will say that I'll message them, out of the blue or all of those things. But that's because I want to do it. It's not that I have to do it. So again, if you want to do something and it is of value to you, go ahead and do it. But look at the things that you're spending time on, and they're not really of value to you. I hear of lots of people scrolling and, watching videos of people they haven't a clue of and not really making any connection. The person on the screen doesn't know you're watching. They don't know you're liking or commenting. They don't even know who you are. So again, for me, it's about supporting, encouraging the people that you know, building those connections, building relationships and building communities, whether that is in person or online. I'm a huge supporter and encourager of other people, and I love to shine a light on other small businesses, other podcasters, anybody at all that is really shining out there but needs a little bit of extra light. So I will. And if somebody helps me, I'll tell you, by God, I'm going to help them back and do everything in my power to support and encourage their business or them as an individual. So again, maybe going forward for the new year, you can think about the people that you know that you can really encourage. Again, that might be just a friend, a family member, a local business, a local community group. I can't tell you the amount of groups and charities and organizations that I've supported in this year because I want to help them. Sometimes I physically can't go out and help them. I don't have the time, but I will try and support them with a donation or I will share their messages on social media. And again, I will do what I can to feel like I am adding value to them and also to my life because you're building connections, you're building relationships, and you're building communities. So okay, come back to a little bit more about me. So again, most of you that have been listening to this podcast would know that I'm an author. I have published 3 books, and the first book was my own story. Someone please help me, so I did. And the first book was a memoir, a journey into my life, where I have come from, the struggles I have faced through childhood abuse, anxiety, and depression, and how I found ways to help myself. And people always smile when I say this, because when I was in the darkest night of my soul, as I call it, and didn't want the pain to continue, I just wanted to stop the pain. But I wanted to live, but I didn't know how to live. So I started a mindful practice without even realizing it. And it was taking that one step at a time. So when I was doing that for a while and then started meditating and just really just listening to my inner awareness, what I needed in here, not outside of me. I needed to find what was going on in here, what I needed to heal, what parts of me needed to be listened to. That beautiful little child that is my hero, that people sometimes pity. And I go, she is amazing. She got me to where I am today, but she needed to be taken by the hand and brought out into the light to say, it's okay, it's safe now. So when I wrote my story, and many people that I've known for years will have known, I wrote every horror detail in my first manuscript. But I thought that was for me. That was for my own healing. So I scrapped that manuscript and I started from scratch. And I wrote in a more positive way, I suppose, really about, I did say the pain I went through and what I felt, but I also shared about what helped me and what I've learned along the way and where I was. And that was back in 2017, 2018. And it's amazing when you can let go. And I don't mean that in the, oh, let go and everything will be fine. But when I let go of holding on to the pain, something opened up in my life, something miraculous. And it was that I allowed my own light to shine. And when I could shine my light, I then started seeing the light of others. And I could see that they needed to shine a little brighter. So again, I supported and encouraged people along the way. And that's one of the reasons I became a wellness coach and therapist, because I wanted to help my clients to realize that they had so much to offer the world, and you can empower them with the awareness of what's going on in their energy right now, what things that are triggering them in their subconscious mind that maybe they're not aware of. And through that soul energy reading that I do and working with their higher selves, their spiritual guides, their loved ones in spirit, there's so much support out there for us physically and in spirit. So I just love what I do. And I'm sure many people that know me will hear the passion in my voice when I talk about it. But I do love it because I smile every day after work with my clients when I see them going out the door and they're holding something more belonging to them. I didn't give it to them. They're rediscovering or reconnecting with their authentic self. And again, that's building a relationship, building a connection with who they are. And then they go out there into the world and they're showing their authentic selves and they're building relationships and connections with people that they know are going to add value to their lives personally and professionally. So I also teach Reiki and Seiki and energy therapy that is all about self-awareness. And anybody that has done my level one, you'll know it's a 2 day, very intensive weekend where you're really looking at yourself. It's a really strong personal development training weekend where you really can't hide who you are. I only work with small groups, and so that I can spend time with each person, again, building that relationship, building that trust so that they can say whatever they want. And again, anyone will know I will go, that's only that's only surface talk. Let's get down to the real issues. And when we work with the real issues and we heal them, then we can move on. Then we can heal. Then we can recover. Then we can build that really strong relationship, knowing our strengths and working on the things where we are weaker or we believe we are weaker in our lives. Valuing yourself, valuing who you are, where you are right now, but maybe thinking, well, where do I want to be? And saying this is possible. If it was possible for me, it's possible for you. I promise you. So again, through my work, I went on to study mindfulness, meditation, Reiki and Seiki, clinical hypnotherapy with Laura McDonald in Mayo, an amazing mentor. And I've had many amazing mentors over the years that have encouraged and supported me. And that's why I do the same. So I have an online members community, and it's a thriving community where there's people from all walks of life, and they're coming on to learn more about themselves, to develop personally and professionally. And many of them are small business owners where I ask them to, share what they're doing, to promote them and encourage them. There's also guest speakers that come in from all different modality, all different parts of the world, and they share what they're doing. And again, we're always learning from it. Remember, I am the eternal student. Every day is a day to learn something new because what you believed one time may not be of value to you right now. We come back to our values. So, yeah, the online members community, and again, it's open to everybody. If you want to come into a group and just be yourself, well, then my group is for you. It's open to everybody. I've had the great honour and pleasure of working with different organisations over the last few years. And this year alone, Mental Health Ireland, Galway Sports Partnership, Healthy Ireland, Galway and County, Merlin Training Centre, Nature for Health, Woodlands for Health, my mindfulness groups, doing my talks for different companies. You know, again, it's only when we sit down and we actually write out what we have done this year for ourselves or for others, we realize we've actually done a lot. So I meet people constantly and they say, well, I haven't really done that much. And I'll say, write it down. Even the smallest things you've done this year, write it down to look at what you've achieved. Even if you think, it wasn't that big, it's something that you have achieved. It's something that you didn't believe you could do this time last year or this time 5 years ago, and you have done it now. All of the things that I'm doing now, I can tell you that that 24-year-old me, don't mind the 4-year-old me, never thought was possible. Doing a podcast show, never in my wildest dreams would I have believed that was possible, that I could host other people, because I didn't believe in myself years ago. But through opening up and sharing my story and sharing myself authentically, this is me, this is who I am. There's nothing to hide from. So I'm showing up as me and I ask questions. You'll hear me when I'm talking on the podcast. It's just like a wonderful conversation over a cup of tea between two people. And we kind of sometimes forget there's lots of other people listening and I have to ask the questions, but I'm so focused and interested in every one of my listeners, as I am when I'm with my clients. I'm so focused on them in that hour or whatever length of time I'm spending with them. They're the only thing that matters. So again, it's about having focus and clarity of where you are, what you're doing, what adds value, what doesn't add value in your life anymore. And again, can be careers, relationships, what you're doing in your personal time. Where do you want to add value in your life? And it's breaking it all down and coming back to the simple basics. That's always what I work with. Come back down. Get simple, keep it simple. And what is your message? What do you want to share? What do you want to do in your life, whether that is personally or professionally? And you can achieve your dreams, big or small, you can do it. So even was it 2 weeks ago or maybe a bit more, I had Samantha Kelly, and Samantha Kelly shared an amazing story, knowing your why, and how she had nothing. She didn't have money to buy coal to heat her house for herself and her two girls, and she wanted something better for herself. That was her first why. And then she realized that what she was good at, and that was building connections with people and supporting people. Again, that's what we're all doing, no matter what you call it. And she's now a brand ambassador for Virgin Media Backing Business, which I have joined because I think Samantha is an inspiration. And the backing businesses is for all small businesses, medium-sized businesses. It's free to join, and there's great support there, and you're learning from other business owners. You're coming together to network and build relationships, build connection, building community. And she actually had the social media fest, whatever it was, a few weeks ago. And I couldn't join physically, but I joined online. And I learned so much from all the amazing speakers. A few years ago, I wouldn't even have turned up online because I would be afraid that someone might ask me something and I wouldn't be able to answer it. That was the whole point of the social media fest. It was to learn from the people that do know and how it can help you in your business. So there's another one coming up on the 9th of April next year, Social Media Fest in Dublin. And I am telling you, I am going to be there physically. So you can look that up or listen to the episode Knowing Your Why, and look up Virgin Media Backing Business as well. And join if you're a business owner, or if you're thinking of getting into business and you're not sure how, because Samantha Kelly is an amazing support. And even after the podcast, she has taught me so much. She even helped me set up a LinkedIn newsletter. I didn't even know there was one. And she said, you're just building connections again. And again, that's why it's so important for me. Build connections, build relationships, build communities. And our communities can be, as I said, all different things. It can be for our work and personal life, all of that stuff. And do you know that less than 7 weeks ago, I joined another community, Drumadore. You might have heard of them in Galway. And it was started by a lovely man, Aidan. Look them up, Drumador. And it was really, I thought, first only for children to learn all these movement skills and drumming rhythms and everything. And I was always saying, I wish there was an adult class. So next thing, there was adult classes. And I was probably a bit late to the game, but I saw it a few weeks ago and I just signed up straight away. And it was in Tuam. They have the classes everywhere. And I said, I'm going to join. And I wasn't that nervous. I was more excited. And I went in and they were so welcoming. And Ben, our lovely instructor, our teacher, was just amazing. And he has a real passion for music and for drumming. And he's great at chatting and telling us about things and teaching us the rhythms. But anyway, I did it for the 6 weeks. And then on the seventh week, he said there's going to be a performance. And that's for the 75 kids that are in the classes in Tuam and their parents, and the adults would be later. I thought all the parents and kids would be gone home and we would just do it for our little class. But no, it was in front of everybody. And I thought to myself, if those little kids can do it, then we can do it as well, even though we're only doing it for a few weeks and we enjoy it. So going out there and doing something you enjoy will show the passion to other people, and maybe they'll take a little bit from that and have the courage to say, maybe I could do something new. It doesn't matter what age you are, what it is. If it's something that excites you, go out there and do it. So I am going to, in a few minutes, bring you into a self-awareness practice using breath and mindfulness and inquiry into your values and self-perception. So that's something that you can maybe do now as you're listening, or you can find some quiet space for yourself through the holidays or coming into the new year. But I want to read you a message that I sent to my subscribers. Look at the big long list. And also to my online members group. And I just thought, you know what? Let's share it with everybody. So as the year draws to a close, we stand at a delicate threshold, a space between reflection and renewal. The holiday season, with its bright lights and festive air, can bring up a spectrum of emotions: joy, nostalgia, overwhelm, or loneliness. Whether surrounded by loved ones or spending this time alone, it's essential to nurture your energy and navigate this period mindfully. Embrace the present moment. Allow yourself to pause amidst the busyness. Take a deep breath and feel the present moment. Whether you're sipping a warm drink, walking in nature, or simply sitting quietly, grounding yourself can bring a sense of calm. And remember, it's okay to slow down and let go of the pressure to do it all. Give yourself permission. The holidays are often tied to expectations of joy, connection, or productivity. Grant yourself the grace to feel what you feel, to say no when needed, and to prioritize your well-being. Whether that means skipping a gathering, stepping away for a quiet moment, or spending the day in your own way, honor your needs without guilt. Managing loneliness. If this season feels solitary, create small rituals of comfort, light a candle, cook something you love, or write a letter to yourself reflecting on your year. Connection can also come in surprising ways. Reach out to someone you trust. Volunteer. Or send warm wishes to others, even if only in your heart. Balancing busyness. For those navigating a packed schedule, balance is key. Schedule moments of rest and approach tasks with presence rather than haste. Simplify where you can. It's the intention, not the perfection, that matters the most. Welcome the new year gently. As you move toward the new year, Set intentions rather than resolutions. Reflect on the lessons of the past year and envision the energy you wish to carry forward. Remember, beginnings do not need to be grand. They can be soft and quiet, just like the first light of dawn. This season, be kind to yourself. Let your heart lead and trust that every step you take, whether bold or gentle, is enough. So now, if you are going to take the time to do the reflection with me, I'll give you a moment to get comfortable. You know, you can do this sitting up or laying down, whichever you wish. You can work a little bit deeper in it or listen to it again. But I want to thank my podcast guests for sharing their stories, their lives, and their knowledge and wisdom with us this year. And especially my wonderful husband, John, when he joined me in September, as I said, and he's always been a great support. But he wanted to support others in raising awareness about his journey. And it, as I said, it was phenomenal. The response was absolutely amazing. So that was coming back in September. And then we had the wonderful Celine O'Donovan, Awakening to Life, again talking about her journey through cancer. Anna Slattery, oh my God, an amazing lady, surviving to thriving, as she talks about an assault she suffered at a very young age and where she is now in her life. She is just amazing. Vanessa Mooney, another beautiful lady. She designed the cover of my books. So yeah, ever grateful to Vanessa, and she is developing an app, Someone Like Me, for people that are going through or overcoming or struggling with any kind of diagnosis through cancer. So please look her up and support her. Orla Shield, who I mentioned from Australia, the story of your grief is also the story of your love. So thank you to Orla for her beautiful message that encouraged me to come back on the podcast. Pauline Brown, a wonderful medium that I had the pleasure of working with years ago, standing in your power. We all need to do that. Katie Boyle, she was the first of my Irish Abroad series. And Katie, a wonderful comedian. Life, love, and laughing in New York City. She's an amazing girl. David Ryan, also another Irish abroad. He is living in Canada and he's talking about staying focused on your goals, even through what he went through in the first few weeks of being in Canada. Sinead Nocton, a friend of mine from school days, and how she opened the door to let opportunity flow when she moved to America. And then we had Orla Kelly, who is my book publisher, and she's talking about, do you have a message you want to share with the world? And Orla is running programs to help people who want to write their story, you know, that want to be seen as a professional in whatever they do. So she's a great one to look up if you're thinking about writing a book. Have a consultation call with her, or if you have a book written, contact her and she'll help you every step of the way. Hilary Connor, again, another beautiful lady who came as a guest facilitator on one of my retreats a few years ago, and you have the power to change how you do things. Rachel Gatto, wow, survival instinct, what Rachel has gone through in her life and where she is now. Samantha Kelly, who I've already spoken about, knowing your why, a wonderful inspiration to all business owners. And then we have Annie O'D, a beautiful young lady who went forward to Miss Universe Ireland to have a platform to share her story from survivor to spotlight. And then Jan Brereton, a beautiful poet, the power of saying it as it is, a fabulous Dublin woman. And my sister Andrea had sent me one of her books of poems, and I loved it. So if you want to think of a little gift for somebody for Christmas, New Year, anytime, it's great. And Everybody is a Poem is her book that she has out now. So thank you to all my wonderful guests that have joined me in the latter part of this year and took the time to share your beauty and inspiration with all of us. And before we go into the reflection, I want to say a very big thank you to you, the listeners, for your encouragement, for, you know, following me, subscribing to my podcast, for sharing it on your social media, sharing it with your friends and family. And because that's how we share the stories, that's how we inspire and help others, is by sharing. So I am so grateful to you for being with me every week since I returned, and for some of you being with me since I started in 2020. I am just blown away sometimes by the messages I get, by your engagement. And again, we've built a community here, even if it's just through you listening. But the messages that I receive online or on my social media pages, they really mean the world to me. So again, I am so grateful. And I promise you, we have so many amazing guests lined up for 2025. They're already scheduled up until February, I think. And the other thing as well is if you would like to highlight your business and sponsor this podcast, you can contact me and we'll share it with the world. And this week, the business that I would like to highlight is Wildlands in Galway. It's a premier adventure destination just outside Galway, offering a wide range of outdoor and indoor activities for all ages. Outdoors experience, the thrill of a zip and trek, off-road adventure, archery, frisbee golf, fairy trails, and orienteering. Indoors, challenge yourself on the Ninja Warrior course, fun walls, or immersed in our Celtic theme challenge rooms, perfect for families, groups, and corporate events. Wildlands also feature luxury cabin stays and the Olive Tree Kitchen for a truly memorable getaway. And check them out on wildlands.ie. I can tell you, I've had the pleasure, even though I wasn't sure it was pleasure at the time, of walking on the God, I don't know what you call it anyway, but it was the high rope. So myself and John and Matthew and Scott went, and I was trying to be brave. My knees were shaking, but I could tell you after I did it, I just felt amazing. Again, another achievement. And then we played in their navigation rooms. Great crack, great for doing something with the family. And also the restaurant is beautiful food. And they've just developed it and they're developing it more. It's a brilliant place to have in the west of Ireland, and people come from all over the place. So again, we want to encourage our businesses. We want to encourage people to use the businesses and the places that have been created for us in our recreation. So go and give them a support. You'll find them all over social media. Wildlands in Moycullen in County Galway. So thank you to Wildlands for being our spotlight business this week in 2024, and they're open from the 27th to the 31st of December. And again, you can look them up for their opening hours in January. So everybody, if you would like to get comfortable, and I will bring you in now to this beautiful practice. So there's no music in the back. I just want you to be fully focused on letting my voice guide you and allowing yourself the space to just be. And yes, I forgot to mention that I have more retreats coming up next year and more Reiki and Seikим training. Check them all out on SharonFitzmauriceMindfulness.com, or find me on social media on Instagram, SharonFitzmaurice_wellbeing. You'll find me on Facebook, Sharon Fitzmaurice, or on TikTok, the Sharon Fitzmaurice podcast, and on LinkedIn, Sharon Fitzmaurice. I think that's enough now of me, isn't it? So everybody, welcome to this beautiful space. And let's begin by creating a space of calm and connection. Wherever you are, find a comfortable place, a position just to be. Sitting or lying down. Close your eyes if you feel safe to do so, or soften your gaze. And take a moment just to arrive here. This is your time to be fully with yourself, free of judgment or expectation. So let's begin with the breath. Take a slow inhalation through your nose, feeling the air filling your lungs and belly, and gently exhale through your mouth. Let your breath find its own natural rhythm, soft and steady. As you breathe, Bring your awareness to the sensations in your body. Feel your connection to the earth below you. Your hands resting softly. Your shoulders releasing any tension. And with every breath out, just let go. You don't have to know what you're letting go, just like a beautiful sigh of relief. Let go. Any busyness in your mind or distractions, just let them go for now. Now place a hand over your heart or anywhere that feels comfortable. Breathe gently into this space. You're connecting with a sense of love and care for yourself. Take a few moments here, simply being present with your breath and your body. From this space of calm, we will begin to reflect gently. I will guide you with a few questions, but there's no need to overthink it. Just allow the answers to arise naturally. If you have time, you can jot them down if you like, or just make a mental note of them. What truly matters to me right now in my life? What do I deeply value? How do I see myself in this moment? Is there a word, an image, or a feeling that comes to mind? What parts of myself feel most alive, most authentic? Remember to continue breathing into that heart space, letting go of any judgment or expectations. Are there any parts of me I feel disconnected from or would like to reconnect with? Take your time. Stay connected to your breath. And if any strong feelings arise, just let them pass through you like waves as you hold yourself with kindness. Now gently shift your focus to the possibilities within you. Imagine your values as a guiding light. Ask yourself, what might my life look like if I leaned fully into my values? How can I honor who I am today while growing into who I want to become? What small, loving step can I take to align more closely with what matters to me? There's no right or wrong here, only curiosity and self-compassion. Imagine or visualize yourself living in alignment and feeling the ease and joy that that brings. Hold this vision lightly, knowing it's always within reach. Bring your awareness back to your breath and take a few grounding breaths, feeling your connection to the present moment. Take a moment to thank yourself for showing up today, for exploring, for listening, and for being. When you're ready, gently open your eyes if you have them closed, or lift your gaze. Bring a sense of calm and clarity with you. Breathing, focusing on the breath. So maybe you can journal on this moving forward and asking yourself, what is one small action I can take this week to honor my values? And what word or phrase do I want to carry with me as a reminder of this self-inquiry exercise with Sharon? And you're always doing it with compassion, to great awareness and alignment with what truly matters to you, what you value about yourself and others. Build connection, build relationships, and you build communities. Well done to you all. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast, the last one of 2024. If you're listening to this before Christmas, I hope you have a peaceful and restful Christmas, whether it's by yourself, your furry friends, your animals, a community group. But we think of the people that are alone, the people that are suffering injustices. And part of building communities is knowing that there is communities out there in the world that need our support, that need us to be their voices and to keep shouting. So today I am shouting for the Palestinian people, and I will continue shouting for all of the people that have been lost, but for the people that are still there suffering injustices. Please keep sharing. Don't let the world forget. We're in 2024 and we never thought we would see such atrocities all over our media. And thankfully, there are journalists and people that are willing to share it so that it won't be forgotten. Let's pray for peace and resolution. We can all do something to help. So thank you again. I pray for peace for all of you in your lives, in your mind, in your hearts, for your family, and for all the ones that are going through hard times that you know. That they will see that your light is shining for them, whether it is distantly or in person, because your light shines everywhere. I feel like I'm shining in a big glowy light today, but I want to thank you, and may you move gently into the new year and remember how amazing you are. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to connecting to you all again soon. Until next time, take care of you.